And so she leans over and whispers, "Tell me, Miss G, how do you handle your students calling you a bitch every day?" What? What student's calling you a bitch any day? I may have only been teaching for 6 years, but my students have never called me a bitch. And the way she said it was like teachers are being called bitches every day, everywhere. She had me thinking I was had some kind of a secret. I had a superpower. She had me thinking I should be rocking a cape with the letters NAB, not a bitch, across my chest. But I'm no superhero. I just need to pour love into our children. I even tell them on the first day of school, I may not know everybody's names just yet, but what I do know is that I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. You might as well just love me right back and get it over with, because it's going to happen. It doesn't mean that we don't still get into it from time to time. Doesn't mean I don't have to, call somebody out, take them out into the hallway. But I like to leave the drama there, and we usually hug it out before we come back into the classroom. And then I do have some of my resistors, like Darrell. Darrell was in my first period class, but Darrell wants to come into my third period class. And I gotta tell him, Darrell, you gotta go to class, you can't disturb this class. And he's not going. Darrell, you gotta go, come on, boo, you gotta go. It's like, no. Darrell, I'm about to push this button. And we're gonna call the office. He starts going towards the door. All right, I'm gonna see you tomorrow, I love you. Well, I don't love you. Boom, slams the door. You will. Because I need to pour love into our children. The facts are that some of them don't have any kind of love being poured into them at home. I just took a whole bunch of kids to Philly last month, and one of the sixth graders, smallest kid, biggest mouth. He's dropping F-bombs like he is drawing breath. I gotta say, hey, you gotta chill out with all this language. Come on, be more respectful. I mean, at least around me, I'm a lady, I'm somebody's mother. He looks at me with all the innocence in his eyes and he says, my mother talks like that to me all the time. So every time I think I heard it all, somebody tops it. I mean, the concept of love should be universal, right? I'm thinking everybody should know it. My 8th graders have the assignment, if an alien were to land on Earth, on the planet, how would you describe love to them? Great topic. I don't know. I ain't never felt love. I don't know what love is. The rest of the class, like, right. Like, you never felt any love, not from your mother, not from your father. Nope. But it also makes me think that I taught Hamlet for 5 years. The play, not the dude. And my way of trying to connect conflict or teach my students about conflict is to, give them a connection to Hamlet. Can you imagine? His father just died, and now his mother and his uncle daddy are trying to convince him that he's just got to get over it. Girl in the back, my father died, I just laugh. So even if I knew how to respond to that, before I could get that out, another kid goes, me too. So I've got to pour love into our children because a lot of them have issues. Oh my God, they have issues. Girls have told me, just nonchalant, I've been raped a few times. I've had students tell me in all the color commentary about murders that they witnessed. They would tell me about how the brains were spattered on the sidewalk in front of their 5-year-old eyes. I've had students just be like, oh, Miss G, I'm so sorry that I couldn't focus, I was distracted. It's just that there's no food at home and I'm just so hungry. And I've had other students, you just sound the alarm. They're sharing their suicidal thoughts with me. I gotta drop everything. I think pouring the love into the students makes them feel safer, like they can share this stuff with me. I had a student who just, always very, very jittery, would come in and have a hard time sitting down, popping up and out of the chair. And on top of that, he loved to laugh. So he was either cracking jokes on the classmate or just finding something else to laugh at if somebody else wasn't funny enough. And so one day he comes into class and he just sits down. Red flag number one. We were in class for almost an hour. He didn't bust on a single classmate. He didn't crack a single smile. Red flag number two. So I'm making my rounds. I get around to his desk. I knock. You good? He nodded, and I'm just like kind of walking back. Okay. But at the end of class, he lingers behind. So he comes up and he's just standing there for a second. You can tell when I'm off, can't you? I was like, yes. But what he was saying is, somebody sees me, saw me. And I wish I could say that he was my star pupil after that exchange and that he was getting A+ all the time, but I can't. However, I think it helped when a month later, both his father and his brother were murdered, and he came to school the next day. What I'll never get out of my mind is that he would not sit down the whole entire class period, and I wasn't going to ask him to. Now, streets be talking, so we knew what happened. We were already surprised to see him. So, the whole class is on pins and needles, just waiting for him to kind of snap. So, he's standing over against the wall. I'm teaching, and, out of the corner of my eye, he's just checking, making sure he's good. His classmates, they're trying to be a part of the lesson, and they're still looking. Finally, one of his boys, man, you a mean, a hard motherfucker come to school today. Which he responds, what's crying gonna do? What's crying gonna do? And I never saw him cry, but in retrospect, I think what I provided was a space where he could feel safe and loved. Because I need to pour love into our children. Let's face it, they live in a world that does not love them back. Doesn't. I need to pour love into our children, sometimes just for me, because sometimes it's the only consolation I have when I see one of them in a coffin. And the only thing that gets me through it is that I know I made him feel loved while he was on this earth, at least by me. But tears aside, because what's crying going to do, right? Oh, if I'll be up here telling you all these stories, you'll think, oh, Miss G's a hard motherfucker going back to Baltimore City every day, right? But no, I got to pour love into our children because, the way they give it back to you sometimes just really is awesome. It's amazing, but it's one of those things where you wouldn't know what it was if you didn't know them. Like Chris. Chris can go from 0 to 80 like that, and for some reason, I'm the teacher that can calm him down. And so one day in my class, somebody says something to Chris that just pisses him off, and he jumps up from his desk, and he is just fuming like a wrestler from the WWE. Now, mind you, it's essay time. Everybody's got laptops everywhere, and Chris grabs him, and I was like, oh, shit. He picks up the laptop and gently places it down on the floor. And the next second, he stands up and boom, flips the desk. It goes flying across the room. Now, say what you want to say about Chris, but what I heard was, I love Miss Ganji so much, I'm not going to bust up a laptop on her watch. And then a few weeks ago, there's Rashid. Now, Rashid's another one that just can't stop cussing, And so our school's a restorative practice school. So I'm trying to use my love talk and my effective statements. So I tell him, Rashid, when you use so much profanity in my classroom, it makes me feel that you don't love me as much as I love you. You know I love you, Miss Ganges, but Martise needs to shut the fudge up. So I tell you, oh, they crack me up. I tell you, I don't know what I would do if my students were calling me a bitch every day. I don't know because I have the opposite. Because remember Darrell. Darrell's schedule has changed. He's not my first period class anymore, but he still pops up in my third period class from time to time. And I gotta tell him, Darrell, Darrell, you gotta go to class, you gotta go to class. I'm going. All right, I love you. I love you more.